record button, and we're live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. For those of you who are brand new to watching these short little videos, I'm Kevin Briggs. I help lead Texas Day Peru. And for those of you who've never heard of what we do, we take teams of surgeons and volunteer clinicians down to Peru, not far from Machu Picchu, and we provide surgical care to the poor patients who otherwise wouldn't get it. So today, got a special treat. I've got the guy who always ends up being my roommate, so maybe that's not so good for him. Down in Peru, Keith Greene, he's one of our CRNAs. They're the guys who basically do all the anesthesiologist stuff. They do the heavy lifting and the hard work. They put the needles in the backs of the patients and make them go to sleep and make them feel good. So, at any rate, with that, welcome Keith Greene.
Thank you, Kevin.
The nice thing about this is we can edit this stuff out.
Oh, thank you, Kevin.
You look resplendent in your gear. I look like a Bond villain, but
That's the problem when you work all night. So it's pretty good, bro.
are you just coming off?
Help some people. I did a kidney transplant last night. So we gave the guy, he was happy.
Well, that's good news.
That's-
Good.
And pretty much remember we were going to do this interview we've been trying to do.
Yeah. And forgive me for all my scheduling snafus and get difficulties. Trying to be a little bit better about that. But at any rate, I've got all these lists of really prepared questions.
Yeah.
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
I think I'd be an apple tree.
An apple tree.
They'll be appearing all week.
If you could be a dolphin, where would you swim?
Tahiti.
Seriously, or semi-seriously, what inspired you to get aboard and join our little merry band?
It started with Ted Crumb.
Uh-huh.
Started like about a year before trying to recruit me. So I said, that sounds like a good idea. I've been hooked since. I make my fourth trip.
Hooked is a good word. You keep coming over and over again.
That's the one time I get to practice anesthesia without obligation. That's what I always say. It's a different environment. You're not there to make a paycheck. You're actually going somewhere and leaving a little bit better. That's what I always say.
Yeah. I was talking with some of the doctors and they were talking about getting paid in hugs.
Yeah. Yeah. You remember that last day when the lady rolled up in the car and I said, Kevin, it's a hit. Y'all know what it is. Thank you, doctors. People, you guys are great. Man. And the guy right there, anesthesia guy, thank you. I'm better. But I was correction.
Glad it wasn't a hit.
Not the best part, please. And she did amazing.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
My kids asked, why do you keep going back at 4? I said, it's the only time I get to do what I do. And it's, you actually help people. You help people here. And I told him I've done probably 60,000 anesthetic and that's my best work.
Oh, that's good to hear.
That's a lot of years.
It's funny. We always run into patients after.
Yeah.
And they'll show up with some fruit.
Yeah.
We'll show up with some bracelets and lots of gracias doctor. I stopped saying a long time ago, no, I'm not a doctor, but
yeah, I'm an anesthetist. I'm a nurse practitioner, but I just let them label me whatever.
yeah.
But you couldn't sedate. And I told her, I said, Kevin, tell her if she doesn't sedate, I'm going to be under esposo. And next year I see her out in the clinic and she's laughing at me when she sees me. She starts pointing at me and said, no esposo. I said, oh, I remember you.
For those of you who don't speak Spanish, esposo means husband. I was going to ask you, you've already rolled off 2 different patients that you remembered.
Yeah.
Is there, on all these years, is there a particular case that you remember that's interesting to you or an interesting story? Yeah, it's okay to tear up and cry in these things if you feel
the lady who, it's just, we get teary when we're sitting around at the end.
Yeah.
If I'm, the one I remember is the police officer in the town. He rolled up and it's late at night. We've probably been working probably 1 or 2 days. And I said, okay, which one of you guys are going in? Turns out his wife had a urine prolapse and we wound up getting on the schedule. She had really significant prolapse. We got on the schedule And the guy came back like a Dave Chappelle thing. He wanted to bring us back and take us to get ice cream. I said, I'm not going to get no ice cream. Dateline. They did something good. They went for ice cream and they were never seen again. But that was because she was a sweet lady.
Yeah.
Fun together. Also a lady, I remember her because I have a picture with her. And I think the last trip I had a patient really liked me. I said,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
they're
She
like,
she was in love with you.
he's younger than my daughter. I said, she is a spud. I said, I have children that are almost 35. I have a boy and girl twin. Been married for 44 years. I said, and no, she was nervous, but she was really happy when she had everything done. And she was all smiley and stuff. She did really well.
One of the things I like, especially working with you, is you guys let me be the hug pillow occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
While you're
Yeah.
torturing these poor women, sticking needles in their backs.
That's an important part is position.
Oh, man.
But this is a side note. One of my most memorable experiences with you and Sugar Bear. I remember when you and Sugar Bear, and you were asleep and you were snoring, and Sugar Bear put on his CPAP mask. Sugar Bear was one of our anesthesiologists, and he put it on very like nonchalant, talking politics, and he puts it on his little gap. And I was in the middle of the night. I turned on my phone and I could hear you snoring. I said, I'm talking. I never released the video though. I said, I'm going to go over there, stick an airway in Kevin, and I'm going to up Sugar Bear CPAP. And then I started singing the Garfunkel song, Simon and Garfunkel. The sound of silence.
Well, you don't hear that when you're rooming with me. I'm a pretty noisy sleeper.
It went into the archives. I said, that will never be released. No one would ever see that until I'm retired.
Put that in the blooper reel.
Oh, this is year 41 for me. So I said, I'll probably back for a few more years.
So you've been practicing for 41 years now?
I did my first anesthetic in 84, but I've officially been practicing for 40.
I got a question for you. How has this how has this helped you professionally and personally as you grow as a human being?
I have to say, I always tell my kids, I said, the world is so messed up that at least I can always turn to those 4 tricks and go, I actually made a difference, or we made a difference. Because people travel from the rainforest for 2 weeks to get to our clinic, and the relationships that we formed, the friendships we formed, we cry a little bit. And you think you'd never see anybody cry. You'd say, oh, that person would never shed a tear. It's quite impressive when the last day of every trip, we can barely get through it.
Oh, yeah.
These patients rarely, I think the most memorable thing I ever saw down in Coya, Peru was a little tiny little lady. Her biggest issue was she wouldn't take her tiny little shoes off. And those shoes had to be a size 2. And she was short. She didn't want to take them off because she wanted to be like a centimeter taller. I said, let her come back. And she walks back and we have the little steps that go up onto the table. And I looked at those little tiny shoes. I said, this is what we're going to do. And she needed to go to sleep. She's one of the few patients that need to go to sleep. So we put her off to sleep. I said, when she wakes up, put those shoes back on her. And she woke up, she's looking for those shoes. I said, we never took them off.
So for folks who are watching, if you have any advice for them as they're considering doing something like this, and if they decide to go on a mission like this, got any advice for them?
Yeah, just open. And when you get down, the reason why Camara group works is nobody comes down there with a chip on their shoulder. And if they do, they're probably not going to be invited back. But this last group, the amazing thing was the kids. They were like young kids. And I was in the one room and I was just I was waiting for them to get into an argument. I said, this won't last with all these young kids and different age groups. It never happened. I was sitting there going, it's going to happen. Every time I do a case, I'd listen and they just work really well together. That was impressive. And they were young, but they were a good set of kids. And it's not always us, the doctors, the nurses, the anesthesiologists, the surgeons, you, Guido going, "Ah!" from the balcony. But the fact that those kids, I think they learned something that was impressive, that maybe there's a little hope because all in the media is all these kids with bad behavior.
Yeah.
They were teens to early 30s.
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, we open up slots on our team for pre-med students that are interested in becoming doctors or pre-health career of some sort. And they've been wonderful to have them on the teams. Keith, if you have any advice for them as they approach doing something like this, what are some ways that they can basically take the most advantage of what we're doing down there?
Yeah, they're gonna experience they're gonna see some things that they wouldn't see this early in trying to pursue a career in medicine. That you get to see some surgery. You gotta get to see how people really how it should be when you interact with patients. There's not a real rush factor. Even if we get a little behind and they say we need to get back and say, no, we're gonna make sure the patient is good. But the fact that you're doing a service. Like I said, this is my best anesthesia. And probably what we've done a couple of hundred cases when between my 4 trips. But those are good cases because you learn there's no adage, treat everybody like family.
Yeah.
And that's my second family. But every time I go, I come back and you have that week that you go, man, it was so nice down there. They do a case, go up at the top of the clinic, have some Peruvian coffee, see the mountains, come back down and do a case. And then go back up, come back down, do a case. So we actually we flip really fast. Some years we have a lot of anesthesia providers so that you can do every third case.
Yeah.
But usually I run between rooms and stuff. We try to figure out plan of care. It worked pretty well though. All of us have been really good.
Yeah. We had a great team this year. Not that the teams in the past are bad. This one just really gelled. He had the right personality types, just taking it as it comes. And then you're exactly right. The kids, and I probably shouldn't call them kids, but
Hey, some of those I have boots older than some of them.
or
The when kids go into medicine, they'll either they sometimes it's a passion, sometimes it's a passion and an opportunity to be. It's not the money maker that you think it. Because there are a lot of kids that get out the cost of education and just
yeah,
really. So if you don't, at least you have to enjoy what you're gonna do. Because I have a brother who's a physician, and I don't know if he enjoyed it because he's been practicing probably 47. I don't think he ever really enjoyed it. It's just something he had an aptitude for it. He had the tools to navigate through the education. But everybody has a tool to navigate through education. I had a high school teacher said, I'm gonna teach you how to learn. I'm not gonna go over your background or anything. Once I teach you how to learn, then you'll be fine. And the light bulb went on. But I was an athlete. I'd make my C, my B. As long as I got to play, I was good. B was okay. A's were okay. If I got a C, I passed. And then I found out what a GPA was. Although my GPA wasn't bad, it just wasn't like great, which is probably a good thing because you didn't stress out about I got a 3.98955. If I get a B here, I'll drop you down. But you have to have a passion. You have to actually like what you do. If you like what you do, they'll just make your career longer. But it's blown by.
yeah.
I literally had hair when I started. There's no hair.
Apparently, my career hasn't been very hard. I still have my,
You have big hair. That's just genetics.
oh man, on my GPA was a limping, bleeding carcass that I would drag around from school to school.
But you learned like that light bulb, like
Oh, finally, it took a while, but yeah,
every kid is different. Probably some of the best physicians I ever worked with are healthcare professionals, the ones who recognize that they didn't know everything.
yeah,
Trying to know everything, then you're not gonna do well, and you'll probably hurt somebody.
yeah. We don't live in a world that rewards saying, I don't know, but I will find out.
Exactly. Because the thing is, you can say if you pretend that you're gonna hurt somebody,
Yeah.
I mean, you won't grow. There's always something to learn. One of my one of the guys I work with, he said, "Everyone can learn from everyone. You're a neophyte. I can learn from him. He can learn from me. You can learn from him. I can learn. We can all learn together." And he was right. I said, and the guy's a researcher. He's an anesthesiologist, a researcher. I said, "That's right." And then the old adage, treat everybody like family. And I won't let them, if I have residents or students, I won't let them take shortcut cuts doing things that they wouldn't do for their family. If that was your wife, uh, your aunt, your mom, would you do exactly what you I don't have VIPs.
I just realized
That
I've
would
had stupid jump banner the whole thing.
fine.
I've had that stupid jump banner the whole video. The views of this guest don't reflect those of the station.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
okay.
I tell you, I'm very tempted to post this video unedited.
No, just put it unedited. They want natural. I did my anesthesia training. Yes, I decided I would pursue trauma and work in several county institutions where I can be called.
Man, this has been awesome. This has been a fun interview. We're gonna have to do another one. Yeah, yeah. I hope this format works. It's easy to do and it doesn't look too terribly horrible. But
If you want to do something special, do a mission trip. I did a mission trip in '85. We did 72 cleft lips and palates in 4 days. That was my first one. And then the next one was 2016 with you guys. And then I was hooked after that.
you know, where'd you go?
We went to Potico, New Mexico, and Veracruz, Potico and Veracruz in
Yeah.
Mexico with Valentin Gracia. And the oldest patient was 82 years old. We fixed his lip. And you can keep this as far as a mission trip note is the guy said, why are we done 82-year-old? And I said, oh, we'll do it anyway. We fix his lip and the guy wakes up. He says, I need a mirror in Spanish. And he looks at the mirror and his lip is fixed. He says, now all my life, all I wanted to do is just look like a normal person. Now I can die. I said, no, not today. At least we're out of the country. That was stupid. And I recognized, I said, that made a statement right there. He was 82. He said, now this is the first day I've ever looked like a regular person. And he says, I can die now. I said, no, you don't get to die yet.
Oh man.
Oh, I still remember that old guy. He was a great guy. Just he was smiling. I said, don't smile too much. You'll ruin the surgery.
Yeah, look, that's beautiful.
Uh,
Keith, man, thank you for doing this. We're gonna have to do another one soon.
Yeah, we can.
All right. We'll see you soon.
A better material.
I think this is gonna be gold.
Okay.
We'll see you.
I'm glad we did it. Okay. You take it